things about how in certain states and certain areas there have actually been laws passed against taking films in places like labs, like farms and such. Did you run into that as an issue during the making of this film?
That's ag-gag legislation that you're referring to. And no, because we didn't do any filming. We didn't do any undercover, we didn't capture any undercover footage from the US. The ag-gag legislation pertains to a certain number of states in the US only. We don't have this legislation in Canada, and we hope that that will not be an issue here. Although Mercy for Animals Canada has concern about that. No, we didn't run into that. And the way Joe answers that question as well when we do Q&As together is that there's so many important people and organizations in the US that are doing that work. She's not really needed as much as she is in other places. So she, does her work all over the world.
Liam, how are we for time? We have time for one more question. This has been a great discussion. Thank you so much. There was one more person had, I think. No? Okay. This is your chance.
Oh, good.
So I was surprised to see the interview from Temple Grandin in there. Obviously it was footage, not an actual interview, but so she's constructing the machine, and this film is about animal liberation. I'm wondering, how did you go about pitching, having her in the movie to her, and like how did that even go down, basically?
With her?
How did she agree to that, I guess?
Yeah, well, good point. Why did she agree to it? I have no idea. I didn't ask her why she agreed to it. She knew the premise of the movie, that it's a point of view, character-driven film that features an animal rights photographer and that poses these really important questions about animal sentience and animal use. And she agreed to be interviewed. So,
Temple Grandin, for those who don't know, she's this amazing inventor, but she's also autistic, I believe, people say. So she seems like she's just good for anything. She has this great personality. But I was fascinated. What I loved about the film, too, is that you showed so many things, and you talked about so many things, but when there were things being said that were giving us all this information, the images were still of the animals, and I really appreciated that approach to documentary. It wasn't talking heads. It wasn't all, well, here's this person. It was very powerful imagery, because, again, the images were so powerful. You don't see that very often in documentary, and I very much appreciate that.
And that was extremely deliberate, obviously, because it could have so easily become about the people. And right. Although it is, Joanne is the featured human subject of the film, the cast of animals, non-human animals that are in the film with her, that we get to know through her vision of the world, through her relationships to them, and through her photographs of them, are equal in terms of the amount of screen time and agency that they receive cinematically in the movie. And that was always really paramount in putting the film together, was that it didn't become a film, when the people are talking, the experts at the beginning and the end, as an example, that it didn't become about them, but rather it became more about their thoughts, their ideas, while we see and witness the animals themselves as individuals. And that premise, I think, is consistent all the way through. Going back to the reference to Temple Grandin, the sequence with Temple Grandin is a very intimate window into the machine. And, as I mentioned earlier, it's the biggest slaughter system in the world. And, because of the HBO film called Temple Grandin, she's been fairly romanticized in popular media and for her ideas. Within the context of the movie, where her ideas and the images from her center track restrainer and curve shoot system happen, it's about 3/4 of the way through the movie. At that point, I think almost everyone watching the film has kind of been won over by the thesis of the movie. So it's a new way of presenting, it's a different context to present her ideas. So I think that for me as the filmmaker, that was effective as a way of providing that window and voice into the machine.
That's an excellent point. If you saw the Claire Danes portrayal, it is very sympathetic, you weren't here while we were watching this film, but I just want to say this audience seemed to really appreciate some of the really more exuberant scenes as well, of the pigs, for example, who were delightful. There was a lot of laughter, the two beagles, and so balancing the joyful part of this experience with obviously the very sobering aspects of it, I think really makes this film just soar. And I thank you again. With the Spectrum, this has been a great discussion. This is a wonderful film. It certainly deserves to be seen more widely. I wish you really good luck with that. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Let's give a hand.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'd just like to do a shout out to Donna Reynolds for being such a great mover and shaker and organizer. You're great. And to everyone else, and Donna Oakes, I love you dearly, forever. And thank you for being here. And thanks to Liam for booking the film at Spectrum.
Yeah.
That was great. Bye. So thanks for coming. Again, you should definitely come check out this literature. There's things from the Farm Sanctuary, that great place. I should also say our next